Before Governor Healey was elected, she vowed she'd break with her predecessors by not claiming to be exempt from the state's records law. But as governor, she's walked that back, noting that the governor is in fact exempt under state law and saying she'll consider requests on a case-by-case basis. Now, after 6 months on the job, the amount of records Healey's withheld is piling up. Reporter Mike Deehan took stock of the governor's transparency record for Axios Boston this week, and he joins me now. Mike, thanks for being here. Where has Governor Healey denied records requests? What stands out?
There have been really a handful of records request denials from media outlets, things for, records for, from the MBTA and the governor's kind of interactions with that, things that are on the record, so to speak, with her cabinet secretaries, but not necessarily the governor's own interactions, down to simple things like schedules where certain details have been redacted, phone logs, things like that.
Sexual harassment complaints in this administration and previous ones.
That's another one, is that she's been guarding the Baker administration records from that time, saying that her dedication to being exposed does not cover the former administration.
And the behind-the-scenes maneuverings that led to the state stockpiling mifepristone, right?
Right. And that's something that a number of outlets, including Sales News Service, requested. How did you come up with this money for UMass to buy this, this pill in such a large stockpile? And we just don't have any answers.
Do you see any pattern to the areas where she's denied access? Because as you mentioned, when I looked at your list, it seemed like it was a mix of potentially sensitive things, but also somewhat mundane things. Do you discern a through line?
I don't know. I think it would take a lawyer to really get that through line, and she is one, and she has her own counsel, and they don't tell us really why. There's always vague things about why it is exempted, and like you said in the introduction, that the governor's office, by law, is still exempted.
Right, right. Has she acknowledged, as far as you know, that she said she was going to do one thing as a candidate and has done something very different as governor?
I think it kind of comes back to the fact that if it weren't for the vows she made, if she didn't say what she said on the campaign, and she didn't go on WGBH on the radio and say that she was not going to be exempted, and then took the exemptions, she would be the most transparent governor we've had in 20 years. But the fact that she went out kind of further than she may have anticipated, that's where a lot of this criticism is coming from.
I want to double back to what you just said. So you think that we can say 6 months in that even though she hasn't kept her promise, she is in fact more transparent than previous administrations have been?
Yeah, only 6 months in. There's not the greatest sample to really track these things. And once we get a whole year of budget information, a whole year of calendars and things like that, we'll be able to see. And it's going to take an awful lot of FOIAing to get to that. But by right now, she is giving out more than previous administrations had. But more people are asking for it because she made that vow.
Right, right. That's actually good to know and somewhat reassuring. This is speculative, but you're in a position to do informed speculation. Why do you think she said she was going to not invoke the public records exemption and then reverse course? Why do you think she... It's
a great question. I would love to talk to her potentially when she's out of office. I'm going to get a clear answer. It seemed like the kind of thing a candidate would say, but a lawyer wouldn't. And the fact that she was the sitting attorney general and was very familiar with the public records law and the executive's role in it already, it is a little baffling that she went out as far as she did, unless maybe she thought there was an implicit, except for this case, this case, this case, this case.
But, like you,
we didn't hear.
I heard that interview, and it didn't sound like there was a caveat attached to it or an asterisk. It sounded pretty unequivocal. All right, last question for you. Is the fact that, and I was thrilled to see that you did this piece because I'm interested in this issue. You are, a lot of people that we know and have worked next to are. Does the fact that she's been able to do this suggest that the public as a whole maybe doesn't really care that much? Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at Massachusetts state government, the whole recurring theme is that the public doesn't care all that much, and voters are going to put the incumbents back in office.
It's not a happy laugh, by the way.
It can be.
Okay, so she made the promise, didn't keep it, and now it seems like she's in the clear.
Political consequences don't really happen in Massachusetts these days.
All right, on that uplifting note, Mike Deehan of Axios Boston, thanks for being here and talking this through.
Thanks, Adam.
That's it for tonight, but do come back next week.